Hey, how's everyone doing out there? Thanks for joining me today. My name is Troy Small. I'm a business and government contract consultant. And today I'm going to be doing an overview of a solicitation in SAM.gov. Excuse me. All right, so this is an active solicitation. This actually just came out today. And so the title of this is Gunterville's Lock Air Compressor. For the purposes of this solicitation, today is September the 19th. So this just came out today. I just found this. I was poking around in SAM. And so this number here is a solicitation number. And if you notice that it has a Q, this Q signifies this as being a request for quote. So that Q basically stands for quote. This is issued by DOD, specifically the Army, and more specifically, the United States Army Corps of Engineers. The Nashville office, these are the folks that put this out. Now, for this particular opportunity, this is a solicitation. This is the original one, and they issued it. They're based in Central Time. So this was published today, like I said, September the 19th at 10:23 this morning. And offers are due on the 28th. So there is definitely still time. It just came out. So this is fresh. So I'm doing this video. Right now it's like 10 after 10 on the 19th. And so I'll get this up sometime tomorrow. Offer due. So it's very important to pay attention to this. The the original date offers are due, because obviously this is the deadline when you need to have your submittal in. If you miss this time hack, this 1 p.m. Central Time, then you missed the opportunity. No matter how hard or how much work you did, they won't accept it, or they don't have to. There's times where they may make an exception and take it because they're looking for competition, but you can't guarantee that. You can't count on that. And if it does happen for you, then be thankful, but don't think that they have to do it. Take it as a gift. It was something that they felt that they needed to do internally for purposes, that they determined they needed it, that they needed to accept it late. So, and then the rest of this, like this inactive policy and original, these are for the contracting folks. This is like for when it's in SAM after 15 days, it'll go from an active status to an inactive status. Excuse me. And so that's what that means. So at one point though, if you were looking for this and it's like 3 weeks from now, you may not find it under active. You'll have to go and check that box where it says inactive requirements, and then it will pop up under there. So more specifically about this one is a woman-owned small business program set aside. So this is a woman-owned set aside. The next code that they use is 333912. Air and gas compressor manufacturing. And the PSC code, or the product and service code, is 4310, which is compressors and vacuum pumps. The place of performance that they need this is in Grant, Alabama area, zip code 35747. And this is for lock air compressor. Let's see here. All right. This RFQ provides for a firm fixed price supply contract for the removal of current air compressor, supply and install of a new air compressor in accordance with their statement of work. So they want you to take out the old stuff, and then they want you to supply a replacement air compressor, new, and then install that new air compressor in accordance with their statement of work or how they say they want it done. There is a site visit being held on Thursday of this week, Thursday, September the 22nd. That's 10 o'clock Central Time. So anytime there's a site visit or something that you're bidding on, it's highly recommended that you try to attend that site visit. The reason why is because you can get a lot of insight that you just can't get otherwise, right? Because when you're there or on the phone or however they're holding it, video call, whatever, there may be questions. And even though those questions are repeated back to everyone in an email, when it's asked and answered in person, you get body language, you get a different feel for if there's more behind the answer, right? Or if it's just a straight no, or if it's kind of no, wink, wink, or something like that, right? Not that there is necessarily a wink, wink, but a lot of times there is a no, but it's kind of like, you got to read the tea leaves, and then that tells you that there could be an out under some situations, or there may be an alternative way of doing things if you're paying attention to maybe the rules or some other way to do that. All right, we talked about the site visit. So also very important here, questions are due on Monday, September the 26th. So that's next week, Monday. That means that if you have any questions about this, you have to submit it by that date. And it's important, if you have questions, ask them. Like, this is the time for you to kind of get little bitty bits and pieces of data and data points to help you in deciding, number one, if this is worth you bidding on or not, but also to help you have a much more solid bid or quote or proposal or response, right? When we say bid, a lot of times we use the word bid in place of proposing, in place of quote, and all of that. So just know that a lot of times, particularly now, just in this type of video, I'm using it interchangeably. I'm not necessarily referring to a invitation for bid or anything like that. So, but in this case, questions are due. So make sure you submit questions if you have them before that date, and the contracting officer and contract specialist will respond and answer your question, but they'll send the response to everyone. And keep that in mind, is that when you ask these questions, try to just keep it straight to the question. Don't pepper in a lot of stuff about you and your company, because that information is going to be shared with everyone. Not, like, even if you're giving background, like, just withhold the background if you don't need to provide it, because otherwise it's going to be with the question, and your competitors may gain something from that or whatever. Maybe not, but maybe. So that's just something to consider. And then, of course, in this case, the quotes are due on the 28th at 1 p.m. And so obviously you need to have it submitted well before 1 p.m. All right, so let's take a quick look at what this is. So they only have one attachment to this, which is the probably just the actual solicitation. And real quick down here, this is the contracting officer down in Nashville, Tennessee, that's put this out. And then these are your points of contact. So let me give you a little piece of a hint here. Generally and typically, so your primary point of contact, this individual here, so in this case, Bradley is most likely the contract specialist. And over here, Samantha is most likely the contracting officer. Now, I'm not suggesting that you reach out to Samantha. I'm just letting you know that who you're dealing with, like who's who in the zoo. So if Bradley is friendly and actually interacting with you, just know that that's the contract specialist, but that's okay, because this person represents the contracting officer. But if Bradley is not getting you what you need, or is being non-responsive, now you know that, well, I can contact this secondary point of contact. Not only are they secondary, they're actually probably this person's superior, right? So if you're not getting what you need, this is why that secondary point of contact is there, because to back them up. And then also, they're actually the ones that really are making sure that everything is happening properly in the contracting office. All right, so let's take a look at the actual solicitation. All right, so I'm going to stop this share just to make sure I don't mess around and not share the proper document. So I'm assuming that this is on here. So, all right, so this is the actual RFQ that's put out. It's got 34 pages. So if you notice up here, it's got the solicitation number there that we spoke about with the Q. This is just standard information up top about the contracting office folks. The point of contact in this case is Bradley Jones. Now, this is issued by box 9 is issued by the Army. This code here in the box is W912 Papa 5. That's their UIC or a unit identifying code, or their RUC. I forget what RUC means, but basically kind of the same thing. But this is like these numbers identify this unit of the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, Nashville, basically. So box 10 is very important. So this kind of gives you some insight on exactly what's going on with this particular solicitation. So in this case, it's telling you that this is 100% set aside for women-owned small business. So none of these other categories can play in this competition, and definitely not large business. It has to be, you have to be a woman-owned small business in this case to play. This is the next code and the size standard. So as long as your business has less than 1,000 employees, then you're considered a small business under this, basically a woman-owned small business on this program, you qualify. Okay, so here you have the box check right here for RFQ, right? That confirms what I was saying earlier. This here is the deliver to. This is where the product or service will be delivered to or handled at. Basically, is what this box is for. Back up here, like block 11 is this is where, if there's additional information about delivery, they'll check that box and say see schedule, because somewhere in the following pages, meaning the schedule, there's further information. So make sure you're paying attention to that. And then also the discount terms, there'll be something in there on a resulting contract. And actually it'll be whatever terms you quote back to the government. Most times it's net 30. And you may have some additional terms on top of that, but we'll cover that in another video. All right, so getting down to it. So here they've checked that the contractor is required to sign this document and return it to the issuing office, right, with any additional sheets that are required. So that means that you have to sign this. So even if you write this up in your own paper, like your own way, like you have you have your own letterhead and you have your own way of kind of writing your proposal, you want to put it in your own style, that's kind of sort of fine. However, you still have to sign this page and put this on top of it, because that box tells you that. So they're kind of locking you in to doing that. So looking for my glasses, but I guess they're in the other room. Okay, so there's nothing here for see the schedule. All right, let's keep going here. So here, quote instructions. So this is where they're actually telling us how to kind of like bid on this. So let me make this a little bit smaller. All right, so this is saying that, all right, this is a woman-owned set-aside for the removal of the existing air compressor, supplied a new one. It needs to be a 40 horsepower rotary screw air compressor or approved equal with industry standard performance testing, and 500/2000/6,000 hour kit for scheduled maintenance, right? So those in the industry should know what that means, right? That should stand out to you. This is going to be a firm fixed price supply contract resulting from this solicitation. So that means it's firm fixed price, so whatever the price is, that's what it is. The basis for selection of awards. So this is actually the government's telling you, this is how we're going to decide on the winner. So the government will award a contract resulting from the solicitation to the responsible offerer, right, whose solicitation would be most advantageous, right? So the factors that they're going to look at, so price is number one. So whatever is listed first is most important. That's generally how it works. So the next important to them will be the technical capabilities of the quoter, meaning the product that you're offering, right? That the compressor you're offering, and your installation skills, because you need to provide a new compressor and you need to have it installed. So they're going to be looking at, okay, can this company or what they're saying they can give us, does it meet the technical needs of what we need? Does it meet our technical needs of the air compressor, the type of air compressor we need? Yes or no? And then also, do they even have the capability or ability, same thing basically, but do they have the capability to actually install it properly and make sure that the air compressor performs as it was designed to? So that's what they're going to be grading there. And then they're at the past performance, they're going to be looking at, okay, how did they do in the past when they've had to provide air compressors in the past on past contracts? Did they do well? Did they do not so well? So that's basically, they're going to look at these and give them a grade somehow, whatever internal grading they're going to use. And then that's how they're going to determine who the winner is for this requirement. And here at the bottom, they tell you that, okay, this is interesting. So here we go. It says, so technical capabilities and past performance, when combined, are relatively equal to price. Okay, so that means that price has a very heavy weight on this, because price by itself is equal to two of the others. It takes two to make the one price, if you see what I mean. So think about, you have a pie, and it's just two. You have a pie and you cut it in half, right? So you just have two halves. Now on one side, you cut that one in half. So those two, that's technical and that's past performance. Together, they equal price. That's how significant price is on this requirement. And that's how you can kind of read when the government says, when, one factor is combined with another factor, it's relatively equal to price. So in this case, relatively equal. Sometimes it may say it's significantly more important, or it may say it's, significantly less important. Just depends on how they write it. But it's very important for you to pay attention to what they say here, because this determines where you put your rigor in preparing your quote and your response. So right off the bat, off rip, I'm thinking to myself, I need to be very price savvy if I'm going to bid on this. I got to have a really, really good price. Now, I'm not saying to cheat myself, but I'm saying is that I got to really have a sharp pencil right off the bat. I can't be thinking that I'm going to make a lot of money on the price of this. So this is not one of those ones necessarily where you're going to be able to get a big profit off of it, right? I don't know how much of a profit margin there is in air compressors anyway. So with that said, some industries have a variance of profit margin, whereas others don't. Generally speaking, most supply industries, they don't, they're only able to go so high in profit. That's just how the industry works. So with that said, you have to make very good decision making in your go, no-go decision on whether to even pursue this or not. Because pursuing this could be kind of like business suicide, where you go through this big old effort and you try to go for this, when in actuality, you didn't really have a chance of winning even in the beginning, even before you started. So it's kind of like a waste of resources, a waste of time, lost effort. Now you're mentally drained, you're frustrated, and it's all negative. Whereas it would have been better to say, that's a great one, but we're going to pass, and you stay in a position of power and strength. And now you're more educated, and now oh man, there's actually some requirements that are out there that I can do. I better start paying more attention, right? All right. Place of delivery, we talked about that. It's very simple. The delivery date. So 150 days after award. So after the contract award, you have 150 days to deliver the new air compressor. Basically, you have 150 days to go and take out the old one and install the new one. So the point of contact for communications, this is basically just standard communication stuff. This is where the site visit is going to be held in number 7. And then if there's any questions. So number 8 talks about where you send your quote. All right, so that's pretty good. And then this is all the information. So, these types of data right here in the quote submission, this is, although it's simple information, you got to pay attention to this because this is how they're asking for it. So these elements in this end up being discriminators between one company and another company. And what I mean by that is, all things being equal, I need a discriminator. So if I'm equal to someone else, and I mean, everything is equal, and it's like, okay, so someone's judging us, there's nothing different. It's like they're both equally superior until a discriminator pops up, like maybe I'm late by a minute to the meeting, or more better yet, I'm late 30 seconds or 20 seconds. So not an egregious foul, but if the other person is on time and I'm late and all things are considered equal, the person grading's like, aha, that thing right there, that's what I got to use to eliminate someone. So I just use that. It's not about me them not liking me in this case. It's just that they need to have a discriminator to say, oh, this is the thing that made them not win. And so this is why we're choosing the other person in that simple example, right? All right. So once again, just make sure, pay attention to these. Yeah, pretty self-explanatory. And then the rest of this kind of, they're going through so number 9, so it says apparent successful offer. So the following may be requested from the apparent successful offer. So what that is, that's the offerer who based on the evaluation, they have won on paper. However, the government has not made an official decision yet because they're still validating their checks and balances before they say, yes, this is the winner. So they call them the apparent successful offer, right? And so they may ask you for information such as this here. In this case, a banking reference, and some other stuff. All right, so this is the statement of work. I don't want this to go too long. I'm gonna cut this here real quick, but basically, and I'm not going to go all the way in the statement of work, but this is them describing the work that needs to be done. And this this opportunity is in SAM, so you can search via the that solicitation number and find it. That's the general piece, and then here they give information on the air compressors, right? The stats there, specifications. They talk about removal of the existing equipment. Yep, it's basically work should be done in the manner that's industry standard, basically taking care of all the products and stuff and material and not damaging stuff. Yeah, so this just gives detail on how they want or just the basic expectations of doing the work. And so this is something that anyone responding to would need to speak to in their response back to the government. All right. And so this is the pricing table, if you will. Basically, they have this priced out by job. So if you're bidding on this, you're rolling all your pricing into one. So you know, what does it cost you to remove the old one, right, and the new one, and then this piece here? So like kind of like a bulk clean, if you will, where you kind of throw everything in one price. And then, of course, the rest of this is all the clauses that are applicable to this requirement. And I'm not going to go through the clauses, just kind of scan real quick for anything that stands out, but the clauses are pretty simple. So once again, Troy Small here. That was a video on SAM.gov. It came out on September the 19th, and responses are due on September the 28th. So if you're a woman-owned small business and that's something that you think you can do, and by all means, I'd say go for it, you know, if it's in your field. Otherwise, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care.